audio issue won't happen again. So we got a new format that we're going to try tonight, right? We got a great, so what we're going to do from now on is that we're going to have 4 subjects. We're going to do 10 minutes each, and we're going to have a timer on the screen to make sure that everything's concise. People know what's coming up next and how long we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about each section. So from now on the left side, right side over here, you'll see 4 items. Each one of those items we're going to talk about it for 10 minutes. Then we're going to finalize everything the last 10 minutes. So 10 minutes, story time, catch up or whatever. 10 minutes on each 4 of the 4 subjects, and finally another 5 to 10 minutes just to finalize things. So that's the new format. So we're going to try it out. There's going to be a timer below once we start. But like I said, is before we start, if you're on Instagram, so somebody can't hear me on Instagram? Oh, that's crazy. Let me see. So no audio on Instagram? I don't get it. Go ahead and cut. You guys can hear now? I don't know. So let's see. Does it sound good now? So I don't know. Whatever. So like I said, is the sound still bad? I can't get both sounds working, so I cancel that. So let's just do it on YouTube, right? So because we can't get both working, I still got a little issues on Instagram. But back to what I was saying is that I want to talk a little bit about the AI bubble. Then we want to talk a little bit about data, which is I think is a lot of people think is going to be the new order. We're going to talk about the everything app that Twitter is trying to become. Then we're going to talk about the XRP and the Bitcoin halving, right? So now what's going to happen is when I click these things, right? So when I click, when I start, it's going to be a timer. It's going to get 10 minutes per section. So once we start, we won't be able to stop. So we're going to see how things are going, right? So let's go. So you see there's the timer. So let's go. So we're going to talk 10 minutes about the AI bubble. So there's a lot of concern right now that there could be an AI bubble. What that means is that if you remember, when we start talking about this AI bubble, this AI trend that was forming late last year, and I started talking about what stocks and what plays were going to make a lot of money. NVIDIA was one of the biggest ones. We started around 120, 130. Now it's at 450, 400, 450. We were able to predict that because we understood trends and how trends materialize and how they finally end up, terminating, right? And then the new cycle starts. Now, if you remember, back in December, January, I told you that every company that came out would eventually try to attach their name to AI. If you remember me saying that, I said that back in January. That's happening right now. And that's normally right before the end of a cycle, right? That's normally like in a tech cycle like this now, there's different types of cycles, but they all follow the 4 market phases. But they all materialize and all of them are defined differently by different things. One of and we look back at the dot-com boom, right, of the late 90s, early 2000s. It was the same thing, right, is that whenever all these companies start putting, I don't know if you guys are old enough, some of you may be too young, but if you remember back in the early 2000s, everything had .com at the end, pets.com, this.com. Everybody started attaching .com to every single new company or new startup that was happening, right? So the reason why these things happen is because whenever you attach yourself to a rising trend, it's easier to get investor dollars, it's easier to get attention, and it's easier to get excitement about whatever you're doing. Now, you don't even have to be attached to it, right? But as more and more companies do this, the market gets saturated. People get overwhelmed, stimulated with whatever the trend is, and the trend starts to fall, right? Because all the money's been poured out. We're already we're in distribution phase, more than likely, in this AI trend. So now we're probably got to go into markdown, right? So what's going to happen in this markdown trend? What companies can we keep? What companies can we get rid of? Whatever can happen, right? So because AI has been hyped so much, there's going to be obviously a loss of interest. As soon as the hype cycle's over, and it's already starting to materialize now, a lot of people are going to jump ship. That's how people are. Most people are emotional beings. They just jump on and off. They end up losing money like that. But most people are like that. We have to think opposite of what these people and be ahead of what the masses are doing. So what's likely to happen is a lot of the smaller AI companies are going to be done. we're probably into the software phase. We probably got a few months left on stocks like Palantir and also Twilio. I think Twilio still has another 2 or 3 months to run up. But then, of course, probably sometime late this year, the AI bubble will start to burst, maybe even before that. I don't know. And a lot of these stocks are going to lose value, including NVIDIA. NVIDIA will lose some of its value. It's not, but long term, NVIDIA still has the potential to reach 1,000. It's an easy, clear path to $1,000, but it's going to be a retraction. NVIDIA will take a hit when the overall AI bubble does pop, and that's expected, right? So what other companies can do well, right? So there's other companies, and whenever a bubble bursts, right, it's like a city that's been like destroyed, right? Whoever is strong, the stronger companies or the companies who predict it or know it's coming are normally the companies that do well. So companies like Microsoft is investing heavily in the AI. They're not going anywhere. So to weather this AI bubble, and then eventually 2 or 3 years from now, the AI resurgence that's going to come, you have to invest in companies that are going to be around, right? You got to be careful with the newcomers. You got to be careful with a lot of companies that are attaching themselves to AI. You have to be careful because remember, in distribution phase, everybody will start telling you about AI, telling you this or that. Everybody starts talking about it in that phase. Start giving you, look, man, this company's going to do this, that company's going to do that. All of a sudden, you start hearing a lot of that in distribution phase. But that's normally when the cycle's over. So companies like Microsoft, I believe, are still safe. Like Microsoft has much more than just AI. But if AI does go up, that company does benefit, and the stock price will also benefit as well. NVIDIA will probably continue to go up. Somebody said Roblox has earnings Wednesday morning. Mira has earnings, Twilio has earnings, but whatever. So to weather this bubble, you have to just make sure, like I said, I'm going to go stick with Microsoft. I'm going to stick with NVIDIA. I'm going to stick with AMD, but I may stop investing in Twilio, Palantir. But any new AI stocks is probably not a good time to start looking into new AI stocks because the end is near. The bubble is more than likely going to pop here soon. And you got to remember right now, right, is that a lot of companies right now are not even able to find, how to plug in AI into whatever they're doing in their work processes. So that's causing a lot of problems now. A lot of companies are not seeing the benefits, so they're abandoning these projects. So all of these things happen at the end of a cycle or hype phase. It's expected, but you have to understand it. If not, you'll end up on the wrong side of the bubble, and you'll end up losing a lot of money buying, falling knives or stocks that are already falling, right? So like I said, NVIDIA still has a lot of room to grow. They also have the gaming sector, which is still not part of is really their core business. AI was something that came along later. So NVIDIA will still has a clear path to 1,000. I don't have any kind of reservations on that. But I think that that AI still has a lot of room to go. It's just that we're in the middle of a hype cycle. So you say also another company we talked about, CrowdStrike, 2 weeks ago? CrowdStrike has done extremely well since then. There's been some retraction in the market because of what happened with the U.S. credit rating getting down a level. So basically, when I try to explain this to people, they're like, what is that? So what that basically is that the United States had an 800 credit score, perfect credit, AAA rated, right? So we got downgraded to AA. So that basically gives us a 720, 730, maybe a 730, 740, right? An equivalent, right? 740 on a personal credit score. That is just, that means that you can still get anything that a person with 800 credit score can get. You can still get the same interest rates. You can still get the same credit. But the problem with having a 730, 740 is that the cutoff is 720. So if you have a 740 credit score, you can't do nothing else. If you got an 800, you could take a few hits and still have excellent credit. But as you get closer to 720, you can't make any more mistakes. The United States is in that point right now to where you can't make any more mistakes. That's it. If we make any more mistakes, we can't hit our debt or we have any more, we're going to fall below what an excellent credit score rating is. We're going to be good. And that's when we start getting hits to our, we're going to get countries to charge more interest to us. Countries will be more careful loaning money to us. They'll be more strict in payment terms. A lot of these things will happen if our credit score further declines down below where it is today. And it's also going to affect the market because the United States stock market is based on the confidence of the U.S. economy. And the U.S. economy, that credit score is a representative, it represents, I should say, what the world believes that our economy standing is. So it's very important that that credit rating does not drop any further, but it still erodes confidence. People get scared. People start selling stocks. And that's what happened in the market, right? So we got any questions before we move on to the next section? Microsoft was just hacked. Like I said, before we move on to the next section, if you're new to the channel, if you ever subscribe, please subscribe to the channel. And also hit that like button. We got 719 people here right now. We only got 160 likes. That's impossible. We should have at least 700 likes. So before we move on to this next section, I need you guys to hit that like button. Also, before we move on, the CNC is open. Text the word CNC to 89603. We have a 3-month trial going on. It's $117 for 3 months, but you have to text the word CNC to 89603, or you can DM me the word CNC on Instagram. So let me see how many likes we got. So we got 298 likes, but 1,400 people in here, it looks like. So I need to see, we should have at least 1,000 likes in here. But we only have 300 likes. Come on, get 300. We got 25 seconds. We're moving on to data is the new oil. So how you guys like the new format so far? It does it automatically. So I don't have to do all the work. So after it times out, we'll move on to the next one. So I'll go ahead and go on to it. So data is the new oil, right? So I've talked consistently and time again about how the new movement in the world will be data. Data will be the new power, it's going to be two things, right? The AI movement is going to take away any labor over time, right? It's going to be slow. It's not going to be as fast as most people think because most humans are resistant to change. But over time, all our manual jobs, a lot of our creative jobs, a lot of our things will be taken from us, right? There'll be robots will do or automation will do almost everything, all the way down from medical, all the way down to like simple jobs like waiter in a restaurant, right? Some of that will stay around, but a lot of that will be taken by cooking in restaurants and stuff like that. That'll be gone, right? So in my opinion, I think the only two things are going to be left. Three things. It's going to be human art and athletics. I think that attention. And I think that data and real estate, I should say real estate, those 4 things are going to be all that's left for a human. Whoever controls 1, 2, multiple things, or maybe even all 4, is going to have the power in the new AI-driven economy, right? So I'm going to talk about the 4, but we're going to focus on data. So real estate, because AI can't create real estate. It's impossible. They can build buildings, but they still have materials. They still have got to have the land. There's only so much land. So all the land that's ever going to exist has already existed. So they're not creating any more. So whoever has control of the real estate in the future, that's why it's important to get involved in real estate if you got enough time and enough capital, because they can't create any more real estate, right? So if you own an apartment building and you rent it out, AI can never take that source of income from you, ever, right? 2 is attention. And what I mean by attention is people knowing who you are, your networks you have, the people you know, the contacts that you have. That'll be more important than ever before. And that's what we call soft skills. The skills that we have of being able to reformat a hard drive, or being able to argue a case in front of a court, or being able to do a surgery, all that stuff's AI is going to do all of that. So the only thing that'll be left is human interaction. Human interaction requires soft skills that robots and cannot replace. Nobody wants to sit and have a conversation with a robot, not yet anyway. I don't think people ever will. They want that real connection, right? I say arts and athletics because regardless of how strong and how good AI gets at art, people will not want an artwork on their wall created by AI. Just like I don't have art in my house that is replicated. Like I want real people, brush strokes from an artist on my wall, right? And I want, certain things you want from an artist, and most people are willing to pay more today. Handmade things. We go to craft fairs and we buy stuff that are handmade, which we can get stuff that's mass produced. Why do we buy those things? Because we want the humanity that comes from buying those things, right? We want to know that somebody's feelings, emotions, and pain and happiness and suffering and glee and cheer went into those artworks. A robot can't replace that. It can't make that human connection. So art, I think, will always be around. So, and I say athletics, because regardless of, I can make a robot today that could dunk a basketball, that could shoot threes from half court, and is faster than any NBA player. Let's say the NBA allowed that robot to play. Nobody would want to watch it. Why? It's performing better than any NBA player, because people don't want to see robots perform. They want to see humans perform, right? They don't want to see a bunch of robots. That's not because we don't have a connection. When I see LeBron James dunk a basketball, I have a human connection with him. That's the reason why we watch sports. We want to see people rise and fall and the drama that surrounds that. And it has to be human drama. We don't want to see a bunch of robots with simulated drama, simulated pain, simulated happiness, simulated struggling, simulated cheering. We don't want to see that. So athletics, art, all that stuff will always be around. And the last thing is data. Data. Because data will power AI, artificial intelligence has got to this point in history simply because of how much data we have collected over the last 20 to 30 years and how we can store the data and how we can access it quickly. That's the reason why data is so important now. And if you go back to the 2000s and you look at the top stocks in the world, right around 9/11, if you remember 9/11 when it happened, right around 9/11, the top stocks in the world were oil stocks, ExxonMobil, all the Chevron and all. They were the biggest, most powerful companies in the world. They're the ones that controlled they say it, I'm not for sure. They say they controlled the Bush administration and stuff like that. Bush had to make sure he consulted with them on everything he did because they had so much power. That's the reason why we were in Iraq in the early 2000s. People don't want to admit that, but we was in there because of oil. And it's not, I don't think it's wrong, right or wrong. It's just the truth, right? We was there because of oil. Oil is a bloodline to the United States. And without oil, there would be a lot of suffering. So I'm not going to say if it was right or wrong, but we were there because of oil, more than likely, because oil was that important. So now data will be important. That's the reason why we're fighting right now over Taiwan, because that's where the chips are. The chips are what's processed the data, and data is going to be the new oil in this new economy. Now, whoever controls the data or invest in those who control the data are going to be the new rich, the new wealthy, the new millionaires, and the people that have the new power. So, like I said, data fuels the growth of tech giant startups. They create new products off of it now, services and business models, just like oil did. Plastic comes from oil. Oil created many new opportunities because oil, they make not only plastics from oil, they make fertilizers and they power automobiles and power diesel trucks. So much, for 1 gallon of oil can produce so much. Data is the new oil. From now on, data will be above oil. That's the most important thing, right? So there's a company out there, right, that we want to invest in, that I've been looking at, and I've talked about it before in the past. And I think that it's right at the end of this AI data movement. I think we still got some time, a few months. I think that it's going to be a steep price increase in this stock over the next 2 or 3 months. Right now, it's sitting at about 107. We talked about it before, maybe a year and a half ago when I think it was an IPO. We talked about it a while back. So Datadog, right? Datadog is a company that I believe in. And there's another one called Confluent. Confluent is one of the leading data streaming platforms on the planet. And they're the ones that connect companies with, like Netflix, with their data, right? It requires a lot of effort, a lot of money, and a lot of talent to be able to make those mid-layer, they call it, to be able to connect the big data with the final application. And these two companies are doing that, right? Confluent, which is CFLT, and also Datadog. Like I said, is that Wall Street on the Confluent one, Wall Street analysts are overwhelmingly bullish on this stock. Almost every major analyst on Wall Street says this stock is going to go up at least 10% over the next 2 months. Now, this is not, I'll take Datadog. This is my idea. But this Confluent idea wasn't really mine, but I see the potential. Right now, I'll tell you if I get it from somewhere else. I got this from somewhere else. But when I looked at the report and I looked at the article, I saw the potential in this stock. And I saw what they were talking about and how they were putting the points together. And I understood that, yes, this company does have an inside track on the new data movement that's happening over the next few years. So I believe in these two stocks over the next 3 or 4 months, Confluent and Datadog. So like I said, is that if you haven't liked the content, I need you guys to like the content. We got 400 likes, but we only got 800 people watching now. So we need at least 400 more likes. Datadog also has his earnings on Tuesday morning. I think that they're going to beat earnings. I think they're going to do it. I don't know by how much. I'm not going to say it's going to be well over, but I think that we're going to see a rise in Datadog later on this week. I think in the next 2 months. We'll have to see it. But right now we got 485 likes, but yet only we got 856 people watching, but we only got 485 likes. I need some more likes here. I appreciate you, Travis Bernard. So now let's talk a little bit about Twitter and its name change to X and how it's going to become an everything app in the future. And it's almost a continuation of what we were talking about with data. In the future, tech and finance will be the same thing. And I know it's hard to conceptualize that right now. But somebody says, can we get the CNC at 117 for 3 months locked in at that price? No, that's just a trial price. It won't be locked in at that price. But back to what I was saying is that Elon Musk said earlier, yesterday, I believe, he said that he would not create a coin or a token for his new X.com app, which used to be Twitter. Now, I'm not crazy about that name. I'm not. It's kind of weird. I think they should have left it as Twitter. But what Elon Musk has a goal to make Twitter, or I may call it Twitter. I'm going to keep calling it Twitter because, it's hard to change over. But X.com, he's trying to make X.com what's called an everything app. Now, in Asia, there's a lot of what's called everything apps. And what that means is that you have an app for everything. You open up your TikTok, like for example, you open up TikTok in China, it's much different than our TikTok. Not only does it show different stuff because it's dumbing down our economy, I'm going to say that, but also the TikTok in China has way more options than ours has. It has a shopping portal. It has, text messaging. It has a Twitter-like a feature. It has all, it's way bigger than our app. It has email features. So in China, the way that their internet evolved was different than ours. In the United States, remember China 20 years ago was vastly different than it is today. So you go back 20 years ago, China was a different type of country, right? So the government had to allow certain companies to do stuff. So only a few companies got the right to create apps for certain things. So that became the rise of what's called the everything app happened in China. In the United States, we're more independent, more capitalistic. So our apps have become kind of separated, right? And each app has its own brand, and we associate those brands with certain functions and features, right? Like Twitter is for short form text messaging. Instagram used to be for pictures, and it's for older people. Facebook is for even older people, and it's for different stuff. TikTok is for younger people and for video. You see how we have 5 or 6 different apps when all of that could just really be in one app. But because of the way the internet evolved here in the United States and the branding that came with each feature, we have all these separate apps on our phone. In China, they got 1 or 2, and it does everything. Everything's integrated, right? In China, it was easier to do that. Under communism, it's easier to do that. Under our capitalism economy and the way we do things, we ended up with a stratified, more or less, app economy. So Twitter, which is now X.com, their goal, that's what X is, like everything. He wants to make Twitter an everything app, the first everything app ever in the United States, akin to what they do over in China. Now, I think that's going to be a very difficult task, and not from a technology standpoint, because it's easy to do technology-wise. It's going to be hard to get people to move over and accept an app as in everything app, because we've been so long, we've been trained to associate brands with features. So it'd be very difficult to do that. Now, if he can do that, it's going to change everything that we do. And like I said, we already have a trend or a movement towards tech and finance becoming one, right? And that's why people always, one of my favorite cryptocurrencies is IOTA. And I mean, it's not doing very well, but I like the idea when it started. And like I said, I don't know if it's going to go up or down. I'm not saying I like it because it has a lot of potential financially. I just like the concept. So don't go ahead and go and buy it and say, I told you it was going to go up, because I don't know if it's going up or down. I'm just saying it was the most unique concept because it played to that. It played to that concept of finance and tech being one in the future, right? And what I mean by that is that money will power technology and technology will power money. That's how it's going to work in the future. And we won't be able to see a difference. For example, our Twitter app, I'll give you a good example. Let's go 20 years in the future. Elon Musk has achieved his goal, right? So now Twitter is the everything app. So now, remember what we talked about, how attention and data is going to be the new oil? So now you're getting paid for your data. So if you you tweet something, you get paid for every tweet, every like you get, every because that's all data you're feeding into the system. So you're getting paid for that. Then now you need to go buy a cup of coffee. So you scan that, and then Twitter also buys your coffee from what you've been paid for, your image, your data, everything that you're giving the machine. So it's going to be like that in the future, because when AI takes over all our functions, our labor functions, that's what your job is going to be, create data points, right? And other stuff too, athletics, art, and stuff like that. But that'll be one way that everybody's going to make money. They've already started that with the World Coin, where I don't know if you guys saw that, where people were lined up to scan their retina. And if you scan your retina every month or so, or every 3 months, you get paid for it. That's the beginnings of what we're talking about here. Is one day, all of your data points, everything about you will make you money. And the more you feed into it, the more data you create, the more money you get, and you'll be able to use that money to buy stuff. You'll be able to send it to people. The whole thing will be integrated, so technology and finance will be the same thing. And that's how the future is going to be. So these coins and tokens and the cryptocurrency, that's one of the powers of cryptocurrency, is a lot of these smaller ones like XRP, for example, is able to be transferred in smaller amounts with low fees. So that's the future of cryptocurrency, and that's the future of finance. And the United States government knows that. That's why they created the Fed now. They know that the future is digital. They know the future is blockchain. They know the future is small transactions. And it's going to it's going to feed into the next Bitcoin halving. Biometrics is a no for me. Don't want to be a slave to the bot. You're already a slave to the bot. It's already too late. I'm sorry to tell you. Like if you walk into everybody's already part of the hive mind. And whenever you pick up your phone, you're sending thousands of data points back to the system for free. And you said biometrics, your phone is already full of semi-biometrics now. It can track your steps. It can track your location. It can track your height, because it knows when you pick your phone up how high the phone is from the ground by lot, because it can track the distance from the ground based on GPS. There's a lot of things they can deduce from you by using your phone. There's a lot of things they can deduce from you. So you're already giving the machine data, but you're giving it up for free. You're giving it up for free now. Every time you turn on Netflix, that's why sometimes you'll look up something on your phone, you turn on Hulu and the commercial comes on. How did Hulu know that you would just look at something up on your phone? Because they got the data. The data's fed into a centralized system and they all sharing it. That's how they know. You're already giving thousands and thousands of dollars worth of data every month to the system. Why wouldn't you get paid for that? And you're doing it for free now, and you're doing it, a lot of it's not without your permission. Like I can give you a good example is that GPS can track not only latitude and longitude, but also elevation. They know how high you are from the ground. So with that data, all I'm getting is GPS data. So I can just say, well, I just got GPS data. But if I analyze that data over time, I can figure out your height. And you never gave me your height information. You see what I'm saying? You never told me. I never told anybody I was 6'6". I didn't give that to the app, but the app has deduced that from the GPS data. So you see what I'm saying? So, and it's all legal because, and it's how did this app know my height? Well, I never told them my height. How did they get my data? Because that's perfectly legal because they deduced it. They didn't ask you for it or steal it from me. They deduced it. See what I'm saying is data is very powerful because you can deduce things from data. You don't even have to give you the data. You run enough data points, they can figure out everything you're going to do your entire life. Now we got 1,000 people in here tonight, but we only got 500 likes. I need you guys to like the content. I need you guys to text the word CNC to 89603. Get the link to sign up for the free, the $117 trial for 3 months for the CNC. The last day I'm shutting it down at midnight. So like I said, if you can DM me the word CNC also on Instagram, or you can text the word CNC to 89603. We got 579 likes, but we got 1,000 people here. So it's still 500 people don't want to even give me a like. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Before we go, how you guys liking the new format and the new interface? Let's see in the chat. So now, last thing, we want to talk about the XRP and the Bitcoin halving, right? So XRP took a little bit of the whole crypto market did, but XRP is down to 62 cents. So it's still up about 80% from where it was before the announcement that the SEC was not declaring a security in most cases. But we're still a little bit behind where we thought we'd be by now. Now, it's because of the lawsuit is still not 100% over. That was just a good, it was a good win for us, but it's not all the way over. So, and it really, like I always said before, I said that once the lawsuit over, we'd get to like $2 or $3, which we're not there yet, I know. And I said, we'll be around $2 or $3 at the halving. The Bitcoin halving is what's going to give you your 10, 15 time return on XRP. That's when you're going to get it, right? And the Bitcoin halving is happening in April, March, April of 2024. And I was having a conversation yesterday with a young lady, and I was telling her, and she got excited. I'm glad she did, because this next Bitcoin halving is going to be the biggest opportunity in your life. And I know I say this every single week because I know of the opportunity that's going to happen. We know for a fact that the supply of Bitcoin will be cut in half around March, April of 2024. We know that for a fact. We know that every single time in the Bitcoin history that has happened, Bitcoin prices went up at least 6 to 10 times. We know that for a fact. We know that it's normally 6 months after, and we know that Mara Riot and other Bitcoin-based stocks rise at a higher rate than the actual underlying Bitcoin. We know that for a fact. We have several different data points that we know for a fact has happened in the past, and we know what's coming on the horizon. Now, when you have that many things that are converging to a single point, that's a great opportunity. Now, it may not work out, but it's like a 90% chance it will. And you say, what opportunities are there? Of course, XRP. Like I said, many experts are already saying XRP is going to surge to $25, $30 in the next bull run, right? Because if you look at how it's being accumulated, a lot of the rich, the elite, and the banks are accumulating XRP. XRP is making those partnerships. They're making a lot of bank partnerships, corporate partnerships. They're still working on the technology. The SEC lawsuit is not all over. It's going to be completely over and resolved more than likely by the end of the year or either before the halving. So XRP will be set up at a perfect position right at the Bitcoin halving to take great advantage of it. Remember, altcoins normally go up at a higher rate than Bitcoin during the next halving. We got 6 months, then we got a total of 18 months. We got 6 months before a slow rise, and we got a full year of a Bitcoin bull run, probably in the year end of 24 into well into 2025. Now, there's a lot of opportunity there, a lot. If the average person positions, you got what? What's today? April, May, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. You got 8 months. You don't have no money, you're 20 years old, you got 8 months to do Uber Eats. You got 8 months to do Uber. You got 8 months to save your money. You got 8 months to do odd jobs and maybe get a second job and save that money up. You got 8 months to figure out ways to make money. You got 8 months to invest in the CNC and build that money up, because we've been making great returns in the CNC until that big play comes. It's a great opportunity. Like I said, in every single Bitcoin halving, let's go back. 2013, I messed up. I didn't make any money in that halving because I got scared, panicked, and sold everything I had. Because that's what happened. Like a lot of the stories I tell y'all is because I've been through it, and it's happened to me, right? I'm telling you this is from my personal experience. I got experience in this. And I panicked in 2023, sold everything I get because the media told me Bitcoin was done. And then I turned around 2015, 16, started coming back up. Then I went on to learn about market cycles, how the media manipulates markets, how the rich come in and buy up assets in certain phases. And then I understood it. So 2017, I made a couple of $1 million. Not counting the sale of my company, because I actually sold a company in that wave too, so it's even more millions. The wave after that, I made even more. I made about twice as much as I made the first time. This time, I'm planning a $20 to $30 million play on different ways. Mirror Riot, investing in Bitcoin crypto directly, and also an auxiliary business that I'm working on. So those three plays are going to set me up for a $20 to $30 million play in 25. I'm gonna do it right in front of your face. Like I told you, every single thing I've ever done since I've been on Instagram, I've done it. I told you I was gonna do it, then did it right in your face. Now, I've done that before, almost everything I said, and I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna walk away with 20, 30 million by the end of 25. And that's when I may disappear. No, I'm just joking, I'll still be here. But somebody says, now we're confused. Are we DCA XRP now? Or are we saving up the person at the halving? I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't make sense. So like I said, as everybody's in here tonight, I need you guys to like the content, and I need you guys to please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. So yeah, that's another thing. So Candy has a good point. She says, how do we feel about Wells Fargo's price prediction for XRP at $100 to $500 within 4 to 7 months? I don't believe that. That's kind of too high. But like I said, this is what we're talking about. These are big banks. And that's not the only bank that has made that prediction. These are big banks that have made that. Now, I see somebody else post, and a lot of people don't like XRP and a lot of the bigger cryptos because you can make a lot more money in the smaller cryptos. That you can, but they also carry a lot more risk. And I'm a person who tries to manage risk constantly. I actually will, if I see an opportunity, I'll manage the risk before I even try to make as much money, because if you manage risk, the money's going to come. I don't have to worry about that. But you can't, if you don't constantly manage risk, it don't matter how much you make, because one day you'll lose it all in some crazy play. And that's the reason why you have to constantly manage risk, because risk is always out there in everything you do. And that's why a lot of people get scammed, because they don't manage risk, right? If you sit down with a person you're going to invest money with, and you say, hey, man, I'm going to give you $1 million to doing some real estate play. You say, man, how can I lose all my money? If that person can't tell you how you can lose it, they're scamming you. Don't invest in them. Because everybody who's good at investing, good at money, will have to constantly manage risk. Travis Burton said, there's no risk in Bitcoin, in my opinion. There's very few, a little risk. There's always risk. There's risk in it. I want you to come up with 3 scenarios on how you can lose all your money in Bitcoin. And then say, well, that's acceptable. You see what I'm saying? That's an exercise that I do to manage risk. I'll look at an investment and I'll say, what are 3 or 4 ways I can lose everything in this investment? Then I'll sit around and I'll think about it. And then once I come up with those 3, I'll say, well, is that acceptable, or what's the likelihood of these happening? If it's low, I do it, right? And this is what we talk about in the book, The Strategic Millionaire. And I encourage you guys to get it. It's on Amazon. It's my book. We talk about trends. We talk about risk management. We talk about a lot of things we talk about here on Strategy Sunday every week. And I encourage you guys to get it. If you've already gotten it, tell me what you think about it in the comments. Yeah, I got to get the book in Audible. Somebody says, you got to get that book in Audible. Yeah, I still do. Yeah, there's going to be a CNC after party tonight. I appreciate you, Robert. I appreciate you, I Am Love. If you once you read the book, drop a review on Amazon for me, please. I appreciate you, Marcos. Is there a micro crypto coin you like? I don't really mess with a lot of the smaller coins unless it's a bull market, because it's just too much risk right now. Where do I find the after party? It should be in the CNC, the Discord. We do it in the Discord. I appreciate you, David. Thanks for ordering the book. Thank you, Clicks. So like I said, I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes to ask any questions, and I'll let you guys go for the night. I'm selling all my wife's shoes and buying more XRP. So before we go, how'd you guys like the new format? Do you think it should be more or less time for each subject? Or is it okay?